phone number, though, they could probably find out a lot about you.
Yes, but that's a different phone number.
Oh, you have a dating phone number. Who schooled you to come back in with this false identity?
No, because...
How do I know this is your real name?
No, the reason why is because...
We're not INS here.
No,
you're
but
good.
the phone number also shows, like I have it on my website. You
right.
know what I mean? So it's like...
No, I know. People get very sleuthy. And there's two schools of thought. A lot of people are like, you know what, let's do no last names until we get to know each other. Because the second you have last names, then people are going to start Googling and make all sorts of impressions about you before they even know you.
Like armpit guy,
Yeah.
I was really nervous. Like I was like, is he does that thing that's weird to me. To me, it's weird. Maybe I don't want to offend anyone.
It is. Yeah, you armpits never pick something.
Maybe
else.
maybe.
What if he smelled
maybe
your
that's the
hand?
thing.
Would that be
Maybe
weirder?
If he wants to what?
Smelled your hands. Like, are there things that he could have asked to smell that were better? Your hair.
I think that the normal thing is you want to smell the person's hair, the neck.
Is that okay? If he just went like and started sniffing around like a dog, that's not better either. Like, is there anything sniffable?
Okay, I'm going to tell you something. Okay. Actually, I'm going to tell you something. For me, the scent, like, I don't like it when men wear cologne.
Okay, sounds reasonable.
Okay, because I think that I want to smell the person, and that cologne is just like it's mixture. And then I'm going to... Let's say that you and I are dating and you wear cologne. Then I go somewhere and then some other guy's wearing your cologne. So I'm going to be like, oh, checking it. Like, no, like you have your smell.
Well, so he wanted to know your smell.
Yes, again, so that's why I don't have anything against people wanting to smell the person. But it's more like I do it more like discreetly. So if I give the guy a hug, I kind of smell. But I don't go...
Yeah, I know. That's weird. I'm not sure there's any part he could have smelled. Even if he said something really benign, like, can I smell your hair? That's weird.
Yes, that's true.
Or he had to be your... He'd be like, oh, that shampoo. Like I love that shampoo. And then he gets in there and he starts crawling around. That's
he gets in there.
Now, you go out with a guy once and you tell him you do comedy. And he's like, oh, I want to come. Is that a plus or a minus?
Okay, so here's the thing. I just spoke with a friend who's a comedian, and he told me, do not disclose you're a comedian. Do not. And I, I'm thinking I'm going to do that because once I say I'm a comedian, then the conversation is all about comedy. And I love comedy, but I don't want to be...
Do they try and be funnier? I don't want to be
asked. Like, then it turns into just like a question. And you do this, and you do this. And it's just like, yes, no, yes. Well, sometimes. And then it's not like getting to know the person.
Well, they're getting to know something that you've expressed that you're passionate about. So there's some plus in that. If you said, like, I'm a skier, and they start to ask you questions about skiing, I don't think that's unreasonable. They're trying to figure out your world. I would have a problem if I were a comedian, if they were either trying to be funny or asking you to be funny, or like it just changes the
they do. They do. Like, tell me a joke. And maybe you can use this. Maybe you can use this. And then they start telling me some joke that I'm like, I never asked you for material. Like, thank you. Sometimes, look, if you might say something funny and I might say, Brian, that's really funny. Do you mind if I use it and I'll modify it? And then it's like, oh, people normally like, yeah, sure. Or,
Do they want to be joked about in the act? Have you run into that yet? You're like, I'm funny. You going to talk about this? You going to tell them this?
Yeah, like if I tell a joke about like a guy that I went out with, and then I'm like, I'm gonna write a joke about this because it's really funny. Then the guys have felt like really flattered. Like, really, are you gonna tell that joke? Are you gonna say that joke? But I don't want them to come and see me at an open mic.
Okay. All right. We got to take a quick break because we got to afford the Mexican food around here. And we will be back right after this. We are back telling some jokes here with Mariza. So you anglicize your name. You don't
Mariza?
Yeah, you said that's not what it is.
No, it's Mariza, but then they think it's said with a D and like
it's
they get
Mariza Brussolo.
You say it perfectly, Brian.
Right. You should. It's sort of like it's always weird because it's all the news people down here in South Florida are all Hispanic or Latina. East Coast is Hispanic and West Coast is Latina. What's the difference? I
think it's like just being appropriate. Like, I don't mind Hispanic or Latina, but I think here now they're saying Latina.
But they speak, perfect clipped Shakespearean English until the name comes up, and then they're like Juan Gonzalez. and it
So
gives
that's
them
what
away.
you want me to do. You want me to be like, yes, and yesterday we were at the consulate, and my name is Mariza Brussolo.
Well, like I said, if I go to a foreign country, I don't pronounce my name the way they would. I say it's Brian.
Right.
And then let them butcher it all they want.
But I want to be white.
Do you?
Yes, I do. That's
but
why
the white girls all want to be ethnic of some kind.
Yes, but you see how I hang out with white girls.
I don't know. I don't know your posse. I've seen a couple of your posse kicking around here. Yeah, they're very white, but I assume that they want to have a little Latina in them. You made a joke about Me Too that I thought was really funny. It was like your eyes are up here.
The Me Too movement. Yes, it's true. Like guys have become way too respectful. They don't even look at me anymore. Like when I'm with a guy, I'm like, hey, eyes down here. Why are you looking at my face?
I know. It's such a thing now. Like we have to look you dead in the eye. I get it. Has it made men? Yes, it has made men respectful, which is a good thing. Has it made men too hesitant?
Yes.
They're not as willing to smell you anymore.
In my case, I come from Mexico, right? So the difference between Mexico and the United States is like, in the United States, what you call stalking, in Mexico, we call it romance. I am not kidding. Like a guy finding out your phone number, like he asked you for your phone number, and you're like, no. Like the girl says, no, I'm not giving you my phone number.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he calls you and he's like, wow, he's so resourceful.
Yeah, I know. I've said that a bunch of times on this show where the behavior that women love when they're on a vacation in Tuscany and they want oh, you're so mamacita, I love you, or the whole thing. They love it over there. We do the same shit here and they're calling HR.
But that's if the guy is ugly.
So that's the difference between compliment and
if the girl likes the guy, it's like, wow.
But there's no way for the guy to know if she likes him. So the ugly guy's going to take the same shot because he doesn't know he's ugly, right?
He doesn't know he's ugly.
That's the problem. So if he's
okay, that's a good question.
Like,
do guys
how
know
is he
when they're
supposed
ugly?
to know?
Do guys know they're ugly?
Well, they shouldn't be because as somebody, we're all beautiful to somebody, right?
You think that every guy has a somebody?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Or he can become infinitely more attractive if he stands on his wallet. I don't know. There are ways to make yourself more. Remember when Julia Roberts married Lyle Lovett back in the day? Mm-hmm. And people were like, oh my God, that's kind of freaky. But or Paulina was married, a lot of rock stars or whatever. But there was something about him that she found like quirky beautiful. There's a lot of that. So the guy doesn't know, Okay,
so what attracted me to the guy that I dated for 3 years.
The transition guy? It's like a halfway.
It was his voice. Like
house.
at first was the voice. Like I heard the voice and I was like, who's that person? And then the mind.
Right. Did that make him more attractive?
Oh yeah. The most handsome man in the world.
Correct. So I don't think the guy knows. I don't think the guy knows how attractive he is in your mind. So if he takes a shot and you're mad because you find him unattractive, that's a problem.
Okay, so yes, I heard you say that the other day about like, how is the guy supposed to know? Or maybe it was in another episode of your podcast.
Well, thank you for listening.
How is that? Yes.
Yeah, how are we supposed
I cannot miss it. Guys, if you got to listen to all of his episodes.
They do. That's why they're here.
Go back in the history.
Literally talking to my audience. So, yeah, how is he supposed to know?
Okay.
I always say the difference between a compliment and the difference between an insult and a compliment is who's giving it. Okay? Channing Tatum says the exact same thing as not Channing Tatum, and that determines everything.
Yes.
And that makes him creepy. There's some creepy in a compliment is what I meant to say. And he doesn't know. So if the guy walks around, a lot of women also don't want to hear him complimenting everybody.
Right. So I've gotten compliments where they say, oh, you are gorgeous. And I'm like, oh, if I like the guy, I feel flattered, right?
Right.
And then he turns around or he talks about someone else and is like, this Susie Smith, just to give an example.
That's a
to
very
respect
white
her privacy.
That sounded racist.
To respect her privacy, I'm going to call her Susan Smith. And it's like, she's gorgeous. And in my mind, I think Susan Smith is not gorgeous. She's actually ugly, I think. Right? But I don't say it. And then I'm like, boom, boom, boom. Then that's his level. That's his appreciation of beauty, like someone that I don't consider. But if he says
maybe
this other
person,
person,
sees something in her that is flattering. Maybe he's looking at inner beauty.
Yes.
A lot of women do that.
Yes,
too.
but no, I'm talking about if he is just expressing about the physical appearance and he says I'm gorgeous as the physical.
Right.
And then he says this other person is gorgeous and I don't perceive her as gorgeous, then I get sad inside. But I'm not going to tell him because then I'm going to sound like a snob. Like what? You think you're more beautiful than Susan Smith? Susan Smith is gorgeous.
Would you rather be told you're pretty or funny?
Funny.
Yeah, because you know you're pretty and you're still working on the funny.
And you know you're not funny, Mariza. So
no, I'm saying that the funny, like there's levels of that you're trying to become the funniest and work better clubs and all that kind of stuff. So the funny is a work in progress. You've probably been pretty every day of your life, so it's white noise. You don't care as much about it.
Actually, when I was growing up, my mom told me I was ugly.
Really?
So I wouldn't grow up to be conceited.
Oh, that's a bold parenting move.
Like someone as pretty as me could be conceited.
Yeah, there's a fine line between teaching your kids to be confident and teaching them to be conceited too. Like there's
no, but also beauty fades and funny.
Does it?
Is forever.
Is it?
Physical appearance fades.
It can, or it can morph. But the window of pretty is longer.
You're a
than
very deep person. Like you're
See all you people who think I'm shallow around here?
No, you're very deep. Like not a lot of guys are like the way I heard your podcast and the way that I hear you talking more in depth.
I'm very introspective. Yeah, I do. I kind of want to always solve the riddle. I also am always worried about the guy out there who, for whatever reason, he's been told he cannot do this. You won't talk to him. Can't get the girl. Too short, too heavy, whatever, too poor, all of the things. And we're selling hope around here at the Great Love Debate. I want people to be like, how can I read the room better?
I'm going to tell you, if I were a guy, I would get all the girls. Even if I was short, if I could be 5'1".
And how would you do that?
And not
letting people smell you?
It's very... I wouldn't tell a woman, let me smell your armpits.
We need a drum roll for this. How would you get all the girls?
I would get all the girls.
How?
Okay. Just take a gentleman class, open the door for her, pull out her chair, walk her to her car.
So you say that because you're, I assume, over 30. I'm assuming.
So you think that younger girls?
No, they're like, I'm not weak. I can get my own door. I can hold my own. No. There's a lot of that now. There's a lot of like, why don't I get the door for you? And then the guy's like, I don't want to offend anybody, so I can't do that anymore. We can't even pick you up on dates anymore as like we used to. So there isn't as much car and all that. So a lot of the chivalry has been taken away because of our shifting societal
Brian,
norms.
To this day, I know girls of every age, and I have never met a girl that says that. I've heard of those women.
Yeah.
But I have never met. You've actually met women that tell you, please do not open the door for me.
Tons.
Then that's a masculine woman. You need to go out with a feminine
No, I'm not talking
woman.
about people, but I hear it because we travel all over the world and we hear the guys say like and I always tell them it's worth the risk. Like it's her problem. Like if she doesn't like that, she's probably not the girl for you. So who cares? Hold the door.
That's a woman who's not a woman. That's a man.
I agree with that too. So you think that no matter what you look like, if you hold a few doors, that you're going to get the girls? It's got to be more than
that. But it has to look natural.
Well, I know he can naturally.
It doesn't have to. It can't look all dorky.
I get it, but the bellman is not getting all the girls. He's holding a lot of fucking doors. So, there has to be more. How does he move from opening the door to you want to go out?
But it has to be really sincere. Look, I deal with a lot of men in comedy.
Yeah,
and the guys that stand out are the ones that, like, for example, I did a show in Fort Myers. And there was a young guy, like he was really young. He was just sitting there. He was wearing something like hipster or whatever. And out of all the men that were older men, and that was the youngest, I was standing up and he got up. He's like, please sit right here. And he gave me his chair and moved away like somewhere else. And he stood out. And then later on is like, I'm carrying my stuff. Let me carry that for you.
Yes. But
and I'm like, this kid is going to get all the girls.
He'll get most of the girls because there's still a fraction of girls will be like, I'm not weak.
Okay.
I get that. Now, in the comedy world, for a long, long time, the women complained that they couldn't get the stage time, they couldn't get the gigs, and it was very male dominated, which was true. It's easier than ever for women in the comedy world, especially if you're good looking, because the comedy bookers are like, she looks good on the flyer. That does help.
Really?
Yeah, it totally.